When I tell you guys that Michael Bloomberg had a bad night last night in the debate, I mean it. It was bad. It was bad, bro. He was just embarrassed. Okay, so what I'm going to show you here is even Joe Biden got in on the fun. And this wasn't a close one. This isn't 50-50. This isn't up in the air. This is like, dog, you're getting bodied by Joe Biden.
2015. This is how you describe your policing policy as mayor. Quote, we put all the cops in the minority neighborhoods. And you explain that as, quote, because that's where all the crime is. You went on to say, and the way you should get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them against the wall and frisk them. You've apologized for that policy, but what does that kind of language say about how you view people of color or people in minority neighborhoods?
Well, if I go back and look at my time in office, the one thing that I'm really worried about, embarrassed about, was how it turned out with stop and frisk. When I got into office, there were 650 murders a year in New York City. And I thought that my first responsibility was to give people the right to live. That's the basic right of everything. And we adopted a policy which had been in place, the policy that all big police departments use of stop and frisk. What happened, however, was it got out of control. And when I discovered that we were doing too many stop and frisks, we cut 95% of it out. And I've sat down with a bunch of African-American clergy and business people to talk about this, to try to learn. I've talked to a number of kids who'd been stopped. And I was trying to understand how we change our policies so we can keep the city safe, because the crime rate did go from 650, 50% down to 300. And we have to keep the lid on crime, but we cannot go out and stop people indiscriminately.
Mayor, thank you. Let me go to Vice President Biden on this. You want to respond to that?
Yes, let's get something straight. The reason the stop and frisk changed is because Barack Obama sent moderators to see what was going on. When we sent them there to say this practice has to stop, the mayor thought it was a terrible idea we send them there. A terrible idea. Let's get the facts straight. Let's get the order straight. And it's not whether he apologized or not, it's the policy. The policy was abhorrent, and it was, in fact, a violation of every right people have. And we are the one. Our administration sent in people to monitor it, and at the very time, the mayor argued against that. This idea that he figured out it was a bad idea. He figured out it was a bad idea after we sent in monitors and said it must stop. Even then, he continued the policy.
All right, Mayor, would you like to make a quick response to that?
Yes, I would. I've apologized, I've asked for forgiveness, but the bottom line is that we stopped too many people, but the policy, we stopped too many people, and we've got to make sure that we do something about criminal justice in this country.
You knew you were going to get a question about stop and frisk, and that's the best you could come up with. That's all you got. Now, by the way, he was lying about a lot of that, so let me break that down for you. He said, when I saw how many were happening, we cut 95% of it. No. Wrong. A court case said, hey, this is unconstitutional, and you have to stop it. He makes it seem like, I had to change of heart, and then I decided, whoa, this is actually not a good policy. Let me change it. No, you were forced to because of the courts. The court system said that's unconstitutional. And he also lies about the crime rate there. He talks about how the crime rate actually went down. And he's trying to portray it like, well, see, that's why it was a difficult thing, is because it was actually kind of working. Guys, that's not true. When stop and frisk was ended, crime dropped even more. So the idea that it was the thing preventing crime is just not accurate. And then we've gone over the statistics before. I'm not going to go through all of them again right now. But 99.9% of the time, it's ineffective. 0.1% of the time, they get people for a violent crime. So that means 99.9% of the time you're stopping innocent people or you're knocking them on something that shouldn't even be a crime, like having marijuana or whatever. Like, you're just harassing poor people of color in the city. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. And he even said in 2015, actually, if anything, we disproportionately stop white people. Yeah, I'm sure. The people on Wall Street who have cocaine in their pocket, they feel really harassed by the cops as they're stopping and frisking them every day. That's just not happening, bro. Man, listen. Terrible answer. Terrible answer. And Joe Biden bodied you, bro. Listen, I don't like to say this out loud because it feels wrong, but at the same time, it's accurate, so you kind of want to say it, but Biden's got half his brain tied behind his back right now. He's not as sharp as he was. Back versus Sarah Palin, go back and watch the debate. Don't take my word for it. Go back and watch Joe Biden versus Sarah Palin, or better yet, Joe Biden versus Paul Ryan. That wasn't even that long ago. Actually, yeah, it is kind of long ago now, in 2012, 8 years ago now, but he crushed him. He crushed them both, and he was whip smart. Agree or disagree with him, he's all there. He's quick-witted. He knows his stuff. And now he's a shell of his former self. And again, I don't want to say that because it seems mean, but it's also accurate. But even given those facts, bro, he's obliterating you. He's obliterating you. I just wish that somebody brought up the court case there. Nobody brought up the court case on that ruled that stop and frisk is indeed unconstitutional because you're taking away their protection from unreasonable search and seizure. So, by the way, you know what that means? That means even if it was effective, which it wasn't, but even if it was effective, it's not an option. It's not an option because it's against, it violates the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. So, it's just police state nonsense. And this is what we mean when we say Michael Bloomberg is an authoritarian. This is mindset, man. He wants to control everything, micromanage everything. And this is why, he has the position. I don't know, ban big gulps. Big gulps, I don't want you to have big sodas. I'm going to ban this. You guys ready? Banned. Like, that's who he is, man. Stop and frisk. I don't know. You're black and young, so I think you're probably a criminal. Searching you. I'm going to search you. Bro, piss off. Get out of our lives. What are you doing? Go take your $1 billion and buy an island and go hang out with your former buddies that you know when you used to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. Except, no, don't do that because who knows what young kids you'll have there with you.